Good afternoon, everybody. It is Meteorologist Aiden Forecast, guys, and welcome back to the video. Hope you guys are all enjoying your wonderful Sunday afternoon, guys. I'm actually not that tired. I woke up like at 7:30, so I'm surprised I'm not this tired. But yeah, so this is actually be another U.S. forecast. So I did my November preliminary forecast yesterday. If you guys wanna check that out, if you already haven't done so, so then you guys have a good idea of what's gonna happen this month and all that. But yeah, I'm not going to be doing another November forecast. That's just what I'm going to do, one for each month forecast. But this is going to be another U.S. forecast. We don't have any snowstorm names or any snowstorms really at all. It's actually pretty boring outside, so it's kind of really hard to think of a video, but I actually had a good idea from what I did yesterday partly. So we're going to be doing a U.S. forecast from now on to like the mid to end November. So we're going to be talking about the huge cold fronts that will be coming into the United States through mid-November, and that they can be causing huge issues with the United States, and also how they can be bringing winter conditions for so many areas so much earlier than what happened last November, and how we can see a lot more snowstorms with this. But I'm going to be doing the snowstorm type of video in a different day, maybe tomorrow or so. But yeah, we're going to be focusing on these huge cold fronts that will be coming in through much of November. So let's get into this video. So we're going to be looking at the National Weather Service, but again, there's not that much. They already took out the frost advisories in the southern United States, but basically we only have a couple things to talk about based on what we have. We actually do have some winter weather advisories in effect for the areas into New York, near the areas. Well, I actually don't want to use this color. I want to use the black color. So we do have some winter storm advisories off the Lake Hudson, where we do have some areas near right here, just a couple miles south of Buffalo, just a couple miles north of Erie, or east of Erie, and then we have some areas near also Buffalo that have winter storm advisories. And we also do have these areas in the warmer conditions that are not having snow. That's where we have flash flood watches in effect, and flood warnings. So we're gonna have possibly some very light snow, not that much, just very light snow, and then we'll have very heavy rain just east of that, since they will be a bit warmer. We also do have some air quality alerts for many areas out there in the west. So again, if you guys have sensitive lungs or have asthma or anything, I wouldn't recommend going outside at this moment. I mean, yeah, you can go outside. It's not anything super bad's going to happen, just not as long. So that'll be for areas for eastern Washington, north central Idaho, and for northern Oregon. And we also do have these lake wind advisories in effect for areas into northern or north central Montana. And we also have those air quality alerts for areas into the southern or the coast of California. And we also do have some areas in Mississippi with flood advisories, but nothing big, nothing major. Really, it's kind of boring precipitation wise. But we're going to be looking at the 8 to 14 day outlook, and this goes all the way from November 10th to the 16th. The reason why I skipped the 6 to 10 day outlook is because usually when the next couple of websites will be looking from like very detailed, like for the next week, but these go out more into like 2 weeks from now, so it gives you a better idea what to expect from not only this week, but also next week itself. So we're gonna be looking at the 8 to 14 day outlook, and as you can tell, we're gonna have many cold fronts that could be coming down the east that will be bringing well below average temperatures. Again, these cold fronts won't be only affecting the will be affecting all the United States. It would actually just be affecting the eastern and central United States. For the plains, from the east of the plains, we'll have very cold temperatures. We're going to have actually winter conditions possible. We're going to have some low 20s, and that is winter conditions for areas near Wisconsin and all that. And then we'll have very warm or very early fall temperatures. So yeah, it will be very, very warm for the west, and we're gonna have incredibly warm temperatures. It's gonna be like early or very, very late summer. We're gonna be seeing extremely dry conditions, extremely warm conditions. So it's not one of those times you want to live in the west at this moment, and it's not looking like it's gonna be getting any better. This could be the pattern we can be seeing for the next couple of weeks. So we are having multiple cold fronts forming off right here into Canada. and they're just coming in and bringing multiple cold fronts after cold front after cold front. So we're not going to have one or two cold fronts. These will just be multiple cold fronts coming one after the other, and that's where we have this ridge right here forming like this, and then keeping it. So they're going to keep this blocking off right here that will allow the cold air, these low pressure systems to form. That will just bring one after the other, and this will just keep this warm air here. So this warm air won't move out anywhere. So again, as you can tell, we have very cold conditions right here through areas into the Tennessee Valley. So we're just going to see very, very cold conditions. We're going to be seeing those colder conditions more in that third shade of blue or that fourth shade of blue. So that's what we'll be seeing again, possibly maybe up to 10 degrees below average in many areas. Again, these cold fronts could be our first Arctic blast of the year. They will be very, very big and strong, not the little small ones. And these will be very big too. So we'll be covering a lot of the eastern United States, and we'll be seeing the coldest conditions in Michigan, in the areas in the Midwest, in that little circle area, and that actually into the the fifth shade of blue, and that's where we'll be seeing the coldest conditions. So we're gonna definitely be seeing these winter conditions out there. So definitely very cold for the east, except Florida. We have that area for south central Florida that will be seeing actually warmer conditions. Again, that ridge will be forming on that little gray area. So we'll just be keeping these areas in the west and Florida pretty warm. But again, we're going to be seeing very, very cold conditions. We can maybe even see some single digits out there in Wisconsin, Michigan, northern Illinois, and Chicago, Michigan City, Indiana. All you guys will be seeing way below average temperatures. Now, if you go in the west, we're definitely be seeing a huge difference. And if you can go from one part to Nebraska, or you can go one part to Wyoming to the other, just be extremely complete opposite conditions basically. So yeah, we're definitely be seeing very warm conditions. Many of you guys are complaining, yeah, it's just not going to be one of those years where you guys get those cold fronts. I think those cold fronts were basically done by beginning of October. So that's why I said you guys have to enjoy that, because those cold fronts are very rare when they go into the west like that and bring so cold. That's why I said it's very rare. We can have maybe one small cold front that can affect areas in Nevada. But again, we're just be seeing this pattern not happen for 3 or 4 days. This pattern can continue all the way for the next couple of weeks. So it'll just be the same conditions for the west and the east. So we'll be seeing very, very warm conditions off in the west coast for California, near that Bay Area, San Francisco, Los Angeles. You guys will be seeing up to 10 degrees above average. So it's definitely going to get very messy out there. Now we're going to be looking at the 2 meter temperature anomaly. Again, we are seeing this cold air. This is the cold front that this cold front has been lasted since like October 29th. So this cold front has been very, very long lasting, obviously. And obviously we have that warmer air right here. It's not that bad right now, but as we continue more into this week, we'll be seeing these cold fronts and warm fronts getting a lot stronger, a lot more energetic for one part of the end. Again, much of Canada will have very cold temperatures, and with this low pressure system, obviously these come straight down. That's why we see a lot more polar blasts, obviously, in this time of the year, because that's when Canada's finally getting this cold air enough to come down here. And as the pattern we be seeing, the bigger the cold fronts it is, the warmer it gets for the opposite part of the United States. So we're seeing very cold temperatures from the Midwest, and that's going to be bringing stronger temperatures for the South Central, and obviously very, very warm conditions for the West. We'll be seeing possibly again around 12 degrees above average, so it's going to be very warm. As we go into November 7th, we'll have that second cold front. So we'll have up to 2 cold fronts within a week. So we're going to be seeing very cold conditions for Wisconsin. Again, those areas in the Midwest will definitely be seeing very cold conditions, up to, again, 8 to 12 degrees below average, maybe even more. And that would actually bring a bit more of a warm-up for the southeast, which I somewhat kind of need. I don't really like warm fronts, but I kind of need one. Saw some 30s yesterday. It's kind of cold. But as we go into November 9th, this cold front completely overpowers the east, and then that will bring in even worse conditions for the west. So we're going to be seeing cold conditions all the way from Maine to Texas, all the way to Georgia and Florida. So we'll be bringing in very cold conditions up to 8 to 12 degrees below average, maybe even 15 degrees below average for many areas. Actually, the ridge does shift, so it goes like this. So it is pushing that cold air actually out. So this warm air could even get a lot more widespread. Areas in Nevada, California, and Utah will be seeing up to 16 degrees above average, which is pretty warm for their average is pretty warm. But look, we have another cold front forming. So like I said, it's going to be cold front after cold front after cold front. Look at this whole East Coast that will be seeing more than 8 degrees below average, and then we have a huge portion right behind it that will be seeing still below average. But like I said, remember this warm air does move a bit more to the west or east, so this warm air is pushing it. So we have areas maybe into the plains that will start to see warmer temperatures. But again, with this other cold front that was forming, it's going to block it off. So it's going to completely push this warm air back to where it was in the west. And this will make it even worse, up to 20 degrees above average. Let's say their average is 70 degrees in the Bay Area. That'll be up to 90 if that's what it's going to be like. Again, but this will be our fourth cold front, and it's only November 10th at this point. Here's the third cold front, and here's the fourth one. So it doesn't really have time for one of the cold fronts to end. So that's why it's going to be very awful. And again, this cold front will just be sitting in the areas in the northern plains for a long time. It's going to be stalling right here. So that'll bring in even bigger chances for below average temperatures, which actually will be pretty bad for those people who don't like the cold. It will be 20s and maybe even single digits. And again, we're gonna have this heat not gonna move. It's just not looking like this heat is gonna go anywhere at any point. And look, more cold fronts. We have our sixth cold front. This could be our sixth cold front in November that just comes in. It looks like it will push this warm out here. It looks like it might not end the warm there in the west though. So yeah, it's very, very awful, pretty awful. But again, we're gonna be seeing areas out there, right here into the areas by today. Again, we had this cold front that's been here since late October, since the last week of October. Again, here comes our second cold front though of November. Again, it's gonna bring in a very cold and very warm temperatures for the west, and cold temperatures for the northern plains. Going to be seeing up to 14 degrees below average. But like I said, this cold front is going to be huge. Look how it's overpowering Canada. And the bigger it is in Canada, the more widespread it is over Canada, the bigger it, or the longer it will last. Because let's say it's just cold front here and it's warm right here in Canada. This warmer will eventually push it out of the way. But since there's nothing in the way of it except this warm air in the west with this high pressure system, it should last a lot longer, and again, up to 16 degrees below average. Like I said, this would be like this could be our first polar blast. This is what we usually see with polar blast. Again, it'll be affecting all of the East United States. And again, the Western United States is going to be seeing up to 12 degrees above average for areas in the Oregon coast, Washington. And then as we have the second cold front ending, we have our third one that will be even bigger. It will be bringing it up to 18 degrees below average, 19 to 20 degrees below average. Like, look how big this thing is. It's just going to bring in completely different conditions that we usually see. It's going to bring in possibly December conditions, and it could definitely bring in, obviously, maybe a lot more snowstorms for these areas. We can definitely have a lot more snowstorms. It's not even a question or anything. It's just with these cold fronts that are going to be coming in and out, in and out, in and out. It's definitely going to bring in, obviously, a bigger chance of snowfall for the eastern United States, obviously less chance for having snowfall in the west coast. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and bye guys.